all the luxury brand challenge today, and they all work like that, is how do they balance their legacy with innovation?
Hi and welcome to the FinancialFox Investing and Innovation Ideas with a Twist. I'm your host Steffy, and today's episode is all about digital fashion and where you can find the coolest sneakers in the world. I will be joined by Benoit Pagotto, co-founder of RTFKT Studio, where the next generation sneakers and collectibles for the metaverse are born. The cult of sneakers or trainers has started during last century. They have become a must for any occasion and for any generation. Some are exclusive edition or unique collaboration with celebrity and artists. So basically they have become collectible pieces. You can find any type of sneakers from designer fashion costing thousands of dollars to high street sportwear for the average teenager. So now they have broke into the metaverse, becoming one of the top fashion collectibles with a record set of virtual sneakers, raising $3.1 million earliest this year. So yes, that's pretty crazy, but it is happening, and more big brands and artists are exploring collaboration to create unique digital assets for the metaverse.
People are a lot more aware of what's the value of creation. It's all about this transparency and trying to be more fair between the relationship between business and art. It's not only the business, and art is just here to look cool. It's like everyone gets paid the same because we understand the value of creation.
Before we go into the episode, I want to talk about my new crypto web domain name, FinancialFox.crypto, which I got from Unstoppable Domains that is creating a new generation of web domains, which are actually blockchain domain name that you buy once, right? And you don't have to worry about renewable fees anymore because they are yours forever. And also they are decentralized, so no one can take them down or hack your data or your website because they're only yours. Also, because they are effectively NFTs, you can trade them and make money once the decentralized web is going to be taken over. That's why I secure my FinancialFox.crypto, and then I got it up and running, claiming my domain name. So the coolest things as well is that you can make any crypto payment using your domain name. So you just add your wallet address to your domain name and forget about it. And when you need to get paid, you just give the person your crypto web domain and everything is done. So it's so easy. And you can get any Unstoppable Domains names you want to be because they just released some really cool extension. If you're going to use the link in the description below, you're going to help our channel, and that is so much appreciated. And also, if you want to do a little bit more to help us because you like the work we are doing and the content that we are producing, then you can make a donation in Ethereum, Bitcoin, or USDC to FinancialFox.crypto, and that will be super, super awesome. Right, let's get into the episode. Hi Benoit, how are you?
I'm very good, and you?
I'm fine. It is really awesome to have you on the show to talk about fashion, to talk about sneakers, and also, technology, NFTs, the metaverse. I mean, I have so many questions for you that I don't know if we are going to be able to, to touch them all. But yeah, let's maybe start with obviously your project and how do you got involved? How do you start RTFKT, and a little bit about your background as well.
Cool. So first, it's not only my project. We're three co-founders. There's me, Zaptio, and Chris, aka ClakeFX. So Artifact, and also the name is pronounced Artifact, even if we wrote it RTFKT. It's because when we started the company, we wanted to call it Artifact, but we couldn't find the domain name. It was already taken. So we used a special way of writing it with just, weird letters. So it's cool because today it acts a bit like a secret code. People need to know, to really know how to pronounce the brand name.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's Artifact or RTFKT if you want, but that's how we pronounce it. And we started really because I was working in esports for a big team called Fnatic.
Okay.
For the past 2016, 2020. And I met my two co-founders while I was at Fnatic because I was in charge of all the brand and marketing, and I was doing lots of stuff related to limited edition collection and apparel and cool designs. And I was working a lot with people from the game industry because I thought that Fnatic being an esports team, we could really leverage on the game culture in terms of aesthetic and design rather than trying to replicate what Off-White or Nike or stuff like that were doing in terms of the merch. And I met with Chris through this because I contacted him to do a project at the time, 2018, about making a skin for my Counter-Strike team, because Chris was known. I mean, he's got many talents, but one of the main things he's known for, I knew him for, was that he was one of the best Counter-Strike and Dota skin designer. So, I don't know if you're familiar with the principle of cosmetics and skins in game, but basically he's a top designer in this type of stuff. And I contacted him to make a skin for my team. And then after I started to put that skin on, I think it was the first thing was like a Nike Air Force One, just to see how it would be looking. And we were thinking together of how we could merge the gaming culture and sneaker culture. Because as well, we noticed that a lot of my esports players or Twitch streamers, as they were getting more and more public facing and making content all day, and were also getting more and more money, they started also to buy into like high fashion brands, sneakers, and they were, following the sneaker industry drops and stuff like that. And we thought that it would be really cool to make something to merge these two cultures together, because it's, sneakers are already an asset people use to display their status, but also they use it as an asset to make money and trade and sell and flip and resell. And the same has been happening for years with game skins in games. So we thought it's the perfect canvas for us to try to merge the two cultures together. And then we did a first test with a Yeezy 700 that we skinned around like a very popular skin in Fortnite called Raven at the time. So again, all of this is 2018, so it's two years and a half ago. And it became insanely popular. We posted it on the Fnatic Instagram, which had at the time 1 million followers, and it became the biggest, highest engaged post we ever did on Instagram. So that's when it started to tick with me and Chris. We thought, okay, like there's clearly something when you put these two cultures together, it's making something people really, really engage with and a vision people have been waiting to see, I think, for a long time. And then we met the third co-founder, Steven, when my League of Legends team was going to the World Cup in Seoul in 2018. So it was November 2018. And because my team was going there, I thought, okay, like they're going to be seen by millions of people online. And so we need to make them real sneakers that we with our designs. So we made them the sneakers with Steven, who at the time was running a very, very successful custom sneaker company. And we did that. My team wore the sneakers. Everyone wanted to buy them. And they ended up going up to the finals, but they lost in finals 3-0 against the Chinese team. And it was really bad to see. but the result was still there. Like everyone saw the sneakers, and we put that idea in the world, both first as content and digitally on Instagram, and then in the real life with my team, my League of Legends team, wearing the sneakers on stage in the biggest esports tournament of the world. And we really thought that it was really, really like where we could really bring a new vision and execute it like no one else. And then we followed up just after in January with, I did a limited edition, collector edition for my League of Legends team, because, in esports, when you win, you sell, and when you lose, you don't sell, right? It's like sports, like a lot of what you said in terms of merchandising and stuff is driven by the team's results. And I was very pissed off because I prepared lots of stuff, but my team lost in final, right? Like the worst, the worst moment. And in January, we followed up with a commemorative collector edition for people to always remember this epic esports moment that they did, because it was the first time since 11 years, I think, that the European team was reaching finals in League of Legends. And we did the collector edition with a champion hoodie collaboration, limited edition art done by some artists I selected that were really cool to do fan art for the event, and 5 NFTs for people to collect them, because I wanted to do that as a test, because I discovered NFTs just before. And I was thinking, and with Chris and Steven as well, that it was really the best thing, because when I was in esports, my audience was used to purchase digital items with skins in games, but us as a team, we had no control if we could do skins or not. It was all up to the publisher to decide if we could have team skins or not. And NFTs was actually unlocking so many possibilities for us, because I was always working with these amazing artists and making super cool wallpapers for the fan to get them for free. But I was always thinking, man, I wish I could sell them the wallpaper. Because it takes effort from the artist, from us to organize it. So just giving it for free makes no sense. And that's where we discovered an NFT altogether. And then the three of us really started to think more about what could we do. And we were all seeing that we each had skills and network that was really, really complementary. And we got along really well as well. We were laughing all the time every time we were meeting up. And then slowly we started to think that actually, like what we're seeing with the gaming culture that was starting to take over. And in terms of traditional fashion brands, not understanding that culture at all, simply because they never really paid attention to it, and they only started to pay attention once Louis Vuitton sponsored League of Legends in 2019. And then in 2020, when COVID arrived and Fortnite did the Travis Scott concert, that's when they all started to a bit like wake up to what is gaming. But that's why we thought, okay, like none of these brands understand anything about this culture. The future is going to be much more oriented towards digital goods rather than physical goods. And also we're thinking that the sneaker industry was a bit becoming a bit boring. There's like 3 cool releases every year, but the rest of the time it's just like different colorways, basically. And that we could be a lot more creative with how we think of sneakers. And so that's why we decided, first we just did a social media account just to test a bit, to make some content. And then we went full on and decided to really focus on it and me quit my fanatic job I was for 4 years. Z get rid of his customization company and then join together to create Artifact, and we started full time January 2020. That's how it all started.
So basically, Artifact is kind of born from the gaming and e-sport industry, for what you said, and trying to kind of create something that was a collectibles and was something for the community. Isn't it?
I mean, really, it was born because we thought that there was a new generation of, creative coming up, and also places to use fashion items, and not just, in the real life.
Yeah.
And it was born from that, like thinking that actually it's a new culture that very, very few understand. And also, me, I used to work in luxury and fashion and gaming, and there's not 10,000 guys like this in the world that did both. So we thought that we were actually the perfect team to execute this, because a lot of people talk about it, but it's different to talk about it than doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did it. Yeah.
And I really want to stop here and just explain a little bit more, because you have got experience in luxury fashion. So you know how the industry works and their reluctance as well to get into technology, to get into gaming. I mean, you might see, I think the way they see, for instance, NFTs is really they see, these NFTs in platform where the element of luxury is kind of lost. So that's maybe one of the reasons why they didn't want to jump into, into that technology NFT space, or they've been very cautious. They've been looking like, that's not really fashion, because fashion is more about luxury, is more about, touching, actually, crafting things. What I wanted to ask to you is, why do you think luxury fashion brand has always been kind of reluctant or hesitant to adopt technology and adopt the gaming culture?
But I mean, there are different reasons. I think the first one is that all of these brands, they are built on legacy, right? They are and all the luxury brand challenge today, and they all work like that, is how do they balance their legacy with innovation? Because, they have such a rich history and, archive and DNA and all of that. So it's a lot anchored in the past. and it's very hard to work with this because you always need to pay respect to the past while at the same time pushing things forward to innovate and be seen as innovative. And in every big technological advancement, they always been a bit. At first, they were like the last to move. Like they were the last one to move on social media. They were the last ones to move on e-commerce.
Yeah.
I think now they are a lot more faster to adapt. For example, if you look at the gaming side, actually the brand that's doing the most is Gucci.
Yeah.
Even though honestly what they do is very, very low level in the end, and it's a lot driven by PR. It's not really long-term strategy or long-term commitment. But that's why I think it's just like everything. It's the fear of the unknown. And also just the gaming culture is not something they really considered a culture before. They always thought, I think, that it was just like some games and maybe bad for productivity, or just like something where there's violence, all of these bad, stupid cliches there's on games since decades. And I think they never had the people inside to actually make them understand that it was more than just a game, and it was a brand new medium and a brand new culture that they needed to embrace. Because if they don't, every kid who's born today is born being a gamer, So I think it's just that they never really paid close attention because it was very, very far off from their culture, which is all anchored in the past, when gaming is always about technology and how you can use the technology to make new experiences.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, perhaps now they are kind of experimenting, but I think they still have to understand the value of NFTs and actually the revenue they can get if they can be more attractive to the new generation and, this new space, the metaverse that is happening. And that's something else that we should talk, because the sneakers, right? The sneakers on Artifact, they can be worn, they can be used in the metaverse. So explain to me a little bit about the metaverse, which metaverse you like most, and how actually people can engage with those NFTs in the metaverse.
So principle of metaverse, it's born in science fiction books. Mainly in one called Snow Crash, and then it was a bit more made more popular to the mainstream audience with Ready Player One when it became a movie. And just basically, metaverse is the principle of being in an interconnected space in 3D, where you can have different objects that you can bring in different worlds with you, and all living together in this massive open world in a sense. And the principle of metaverse has been getting a lot of hype these days because it's a bit of a hype word. But really, like, to me, the closest thing you can see to a metaverse, except the fact that it's still centralized and it's not backed by blockchain in terms of technology, so you don't really own the items you have in these games. But the closest one in terms of the experience and the aesthetics and stuff would be Fortnite. How you see, how they bring Marvel, Star Wars, Alien, Fortnite, like all these IPs together to live together in one unique world. So I think that's the closest thing you can see of how the metaverse could be, except you need to do the same with a blockchain-backed economy, where people actually own their skins and their assets and can and monetize them and then any other platform if they want to. Is the actual innovation is not coming from the big game studios. It's coming from smaller studios like Sandbox, Decentraland, Somnium Space, Crypto Voxels, which are all these worlds, 3D worlds being built on the blockchain, where people can buy land and own land and hire metaverse create shops and sell items and wearables. So that's what's happening right now is people are buying land on these blockchain worlds. And what's interesting is that usually in real estate, where you buy is what matters. Worlds are potentially what makes of a land over another is who us where we just bought land on Sandbox, and once we did that, a lot of people started to buy land next to us because the moment people knew we would have an office there or like a presence there, the value of the land around us went up. So what's interesting is to see all these mechanics of people who actually own these pieces of virtual land, and then they can do whatever they want in terms of experience and also monetization on the metaverse. So that's very, very interesting to watch. And as more people populate these worlds, like they will need to have clothes or armors or whatever you want, like wearables to wear and to either stand out or to join in communities where they all they group themselves by the way they dress and the way they have modes and all this type of stuff. So all of this is evolving very, very fast, and we're following this closely, and we're doing a lot of stuff in Sandbox and Decentraland these days.
How you can ensure that the sneakers you are buying, because obviously, these sneakers, they go as an NFT in a marketplace, how you can ensure they are authentic? So what I would like...
It's easy. That's the main thing of blockchain, is that whatever item you see, you can look at its properties and understand what smart contract it was done on, and you can see who was the creator. And if it's not our official account, then it means it's a fake.
All right. So that's a pretty easy. Second,
and it's different because, for example, in the real world, you can have very, 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 very well done fakes. Exactly. Where the human eye can't tell if it's real or not. And actually, a lot of fakes are not fakes. They're like people in the factory that are taking some and reselling them. So it's actually real ones, some of them. But on blockchain, you can't copy because the provenance is what matters. And even if someone takes our image and mints it and makes a new NFT, it will be immediately obvious that it was not created by us and therefore have no value.
How do you think the physical world can bridge the virtual world, where you have got a way to prove ownership and authenticity, where still in the physical world, where, as you said, and everybody knows, counterfeiting is a big problem. Do you think there is a way that you can actually bridge these two worlds to help luxury brand fight counterfeiting?
But that's what a lot of them have been doing already. They've been developing an authentication system on the blockchain. So, for example, you have like the token ID written on the actual physical object. That's what we do with our shoes. The physical ones we give that people make from the NFC. Otherwise, you can have a RFID chip, that you can scan with your phone and it's directing you to the authenticated item on the blockchain. So it's really not that hard. You just need to link the two with either a chip or like having the information of the token ID on the actual physical garment.
How big is the secondary market?
It's very big. That's one of the big things, and also the community is a lot driven. There's different type of, collectors in the community. Some of them are entirely focused on collecting, not to collect only, but also to make money. So it's all about how you try to get something before it's big or before it's expensive, and then wait the right moment to sell it to make a profit. So the secondary is very, very big.
So explain to me, let's say a sneaker sell first on your platform. How do you see that sneaker gaining value over time and becoming one of the top sellers in the secondary market?
Some of the stuff we've done, all the sneakers we did so far, they've been reselling for 2 or 3 times the secondary. And it's easy to see. You publish it, you just get your data on the items you produced, and you look at how much they're listed for, if they resell or not. It's one of the main things of the blockchain is that you can track everything. So because everything is transparent. So so far us, we focused a lot on doing a lot of scarcity, so very, very limited edition. And also people have a tendency not to sell our sneakers because they want because the longer they keep them, the more, upgrades and cool stuff they get from us, because we do these, forging events where people can get either new NFTs or physical objects for their NFT. Clearly, and also the very important thing in this movement is that every time there's a secondary event, secondary sale, you as the creator get 10% royalty for life, right? So it's really empowering the creators to always get value back from its initial creation.
Yeah, it is a big thing for the creator economy, definitely. So let's talk a little bit more about this collaboration that you have done, and with artists and designers, and some of the coolest sneakers that you have created and sold on your platform.
Us, since day one, we're a very, very collaborative brand because we love collaboration, because usually it's giving opportunities for us to create stuff we would not expect to create if we stayed on our own. So the whole purpose of collaboration is, how do you find the good collaborators with who you're going to create something that neither you or him or her on their own could do. And us now as well, the cool thing is that we have a lot of respect in the community and a lot of, clout and big fans and collectors. So when we do things with collaborators, we always try to make sure that we also pick artists that are up and coming and not too famous, so that they can benefit from the exposure they do by working with us. And we always split revenue 50-50 with the artist. So it's very fair for everyone. And I think it's one of the big things, that crypto is changing, is that because all the money you make is transparent, and also people are a lot more aware of what's the value of creation. It's all about this transparency and trying to be more fair between the relationship between business and art. It's not only the business and art is just here to look cool. It's like everyone gets paid the same, because we understand the value of creation.
Is there any specific pair of sneakers that you really like?
I mean, honestly, I like all of them. The most famous ones, and people are starting to receive their physical ones, is the collaboration we did with Ferocious.
Yeah.
It was like the 18 years old artist, and also the way we did it was super cool and, super genuine and natural. We were just on Discord with Ferocious, in December, working together. We started to contact him because we liked his work, and it was before he was super famous. So all of this made perfect sense. I think it was a very, very unique moment. So of course, yes, we made $3 million and everyone talks about that, but mainly it was like the first time, us, a new type of brand, was making really, really interesting moves in the sneaker industry with an artist that, again, was 18 years old and coming from the crypto space. And usually, only people getting their sneakers are like celebrities or superstar athletes. And us, we made one with a 18 years old artist, very, very few people knew, and we broke every single record with that drop, right? So it's quite cool because I think it was a bit of an iconic moment of Artefact and what we're trying to do between creatives and sneakers and changing how brands are working with art. And that's definitely some of my favorite ones. But every sneaker we do and every collaboration is always interesting because it's always starting from a connection you get with art and the artist, and then what's cool is that you never know what's gonna come out of it, and in the end it's always cool and making money for everyone, and then we can plan bigger stuff later, right? So it's a very, very virtuous circle.
Exactly, very exciting. Listen, tell me a bit about how you make these sneakers. So, the process of creating a digital sneaker, and then, as you said, delivering the physical one, which, if I understand correctly, is coming afterwards, sometime afterwards. Yeah, just walk me through the process.
I mean, it all depends because we developed for most of the sneakers we do, and we always do everything in 3D anyway. We always start with 3D, and depending if the sneaker is a sneaker we aim to make physically or not, that's gonna change the design a lot, because if we don't plan to make it physically, we're not constrained by physics. So we can be really crazy with the sneakers, with putting like strings on them and flames or whatever. We can go really fully crazy. And then what we did for the the ones we make physically, we're developing new models. But we did our first model. That's like, and the reference when we did that, I don't know if you know the brand Bathing Ape.
Yeah.
So, Babe, they did, in the 2000s, they did their own silhouette of shoe that was very much like an Air Force One, that they called the Babe Star. And us, we did the same with the Creator shoe we created, which is very much looking like a similar shape to like a silhouette to an Air Force One, which is one of the most popular shoes on the planet. And we use that as a base that we get creators to skin. So we give them the patent files and etc. and they do their art. And what's cool is that we can then produce them physically. Even if we do 1 pair or 100 pairs, we don't need to be producing 5,000 pairs or 10,000 pairs like the big brands, because we really think that the future is not driven by mass production, but more like by very, very unique bespoke production for specific people and communities.
I like that point that you said, because fashion is definitely going against the movement of fast fashion, trying to be sustainable, trying to be unique. So basically what you're thinking is that like there will be more customized fashion items, that will be the way the brands are going to start to work with the customers.
I think so, but and that's why as well we have a role to play, and I think us we're just the first one in a new wave of new brands, because we understand internet, we understand the culture, we understand the tools, and whereas brands are still driven by their shops they have and their fashion calendar and all of this stuff, so us we don't need to have any concern for this because we don't have it, right? So we immediately create super bespoke, super unique, because we think that's how the future is going to be. But I guess some of the brands will start to do that, and some brands do it already for very, very VIP service. But still today, even if most of them are talking about sustainability and the kind of paradox of the fashion shows and the rhythm of the fashion calendar being obsolete. In the end, last week it was Fashion Week in Paris and they all did shows as usual, So they talk about it, but then they still do the same stuff every day.
Exactly. I just think that, you need to kind of have a leading brand that you actually start to break through the virtual digital world with some kind of like digital collection, not going mainstream, but going out there rather than just do this, one-off case study, because, otherwise it's going to get difficult to get everybody else to jump into the virtual world. But at the same time, maybe the metaverse has to evolve in a way where it's not just appealing to the new generation, but also, to older people, and has got actually a good utility rather than just, being fun or a game. You know what I mean? Like the game has to evolve a little bit more into a next dimension of our second life in a way.
No, but so yes, the thing is, I'm not concerned at all with converting older people. I'm purely focused on the people who understand and that are from the culture, because it's not my job to convert new people.
Yeah.
And I purely focus on the next generation and even younger talent, and how do we help them do their brand and their products and what they want to do. But of course, like there's going to be some things that are more appealing to different type of generation. But also I've seen it when I was in esports, I always had the same question of, how do you get people who watch football to watch esports? And I was, I don't need to force them, it's not what they grew up with, right?
Yeah.
So you can't force a form of entertainment or culture to people if they don't come from it.
Exactly.
Or you can, but you're going to waste a lot of energy, and I'd rather put my energy on the stuff I know.
But Benoit, think something like before pandemic, we were never thought about having online meeting so like that, like having a Zoom call was something a little bit weird, now everybody does it. Any kind of company, any person, any age knows what is a Zoom call. So maybe, we are not actually too far away from an implementation of the digital world into our life. So let's see. It looks,
no, but that's why, like, for example, the metaverse, a lot of people know is Zoom, in a sense, right? And on Zoom, you dress up and you pay attention to your background and all of that. So it's like a super low level version of what interactive 3D space can be.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's talk about something quite interesting, because you have a photo here of a CryptoPunks, and Artifact has done some great collaboration with CryptoPunks and Larva Labs. So I've been looking over the weekend. I was looking at the punks movement, and by the way, I was a punk myself when I was very
cool.
young. That everybody goes into kind of that stage when you are 14, 15, you start to get red, clothes are ripped off, and then you start to have tattoos, and you put chain as a bracelet. And I remember my parents looking at me, what you are trying to improve, who are you trying to impress? And the punk movement was a lot about ideology, so like individual freedom, anti-establishment views, but it was also about fashion with like a strong effect. That's why you were having these weird rings, crazy hairs, then the high cut Converse, they were the coolest sneakers in the world, or Dr. Martens. So can you share your vision and perhaps the similarities with the punk culture, if there is any?
I think the main one is it's coming from people that used to be not really well regarded, or no one was really paying attention in the society. And then they decided to express their vision and their anti-establishment thoughts through a movement that was punk. And, and it goes, and every movement comes with its fashion styles, whatever it is. Its music, its sounds, and its own culture, right? So I think the crypto movement is a lot driven by that, because you can see it started more as a financial community, but same, it was people that used to be very, even though they were in the system, they understood the system was broken in a sense, and they wanted to believe into a more decentralized approach, and they stopped to believe in the current established power governing, our lives and our economy. And then what's cool with the NFTs is that it also went now. It used to be just very abstract stuff, unless you were a financial person looking at graphs and tokens and like crypto stuff. But now that you can attach visuals and emotional connections behind the blockchain, it's touching art. So that's why there's been a big boost in the art movement, and a lot of the people who are famous or got rich or like popular with the crypto movement were artists that used to be a bit outside of the light. They used to be people working in agencies, or designers making weird stuff no one wanted, or people who never managed to get jobs in like big companies because they were maybe a bit too weird. So, and now it's them, who are like the top sellers, right? And even you saw some big celebrities or some big artists that tried to go in the space, and they did almost nothing. Like no one bought their stuff, no one got hyped by them, because they just come from a different culture. So I think the main thing is that it's people who used to be a bit outside of the limelight of society and the economy, and that suddenly take their power in their own hands to install their new vision that is mainly focused on empowerment of people and financial freedom, all governed by a decentralized system.
Yeah, I think that's the main, let's say, soul of the punk culture, but also the crypto community. And I can see the revolution that is happening basically with is happening in the financial system, and now with the NFTs is happening in arts, in fashion, in music, and kind of everything, because it's all about ownership at the end of the day. And that's a big thing, because you own your data, you own your assets, and you should be able to trade them with freedom rather than being restricted. Also in the creativity element as well. Perhaps this is what the metaverse is bringing to the table.
No, it's really this. It's really having to do whatever you want to own, and organize yourself as well in different communities through ownership of different items, or like also, what's very cool is what is called fractional ownership as well. So many people can own a piece of a bigger piece, and it's all about people empowering themselves to their own creative freedom and financial freedom through the blockchain technology.
Right, I'm quite interested into fractional NFT, fractional ownership. Are you working on any project that is involving this fractional ownership?
Ourselves, not for now. What's interesting though is that one collector bought one of our most expensive sneakers. It was the cyber sneaker.
Yeah.
Which I think is listed now for like $10 million, something like that.
Wow.
Because it was our first NFT as well, so that's why it's such an important one. And he was thinking of fractionalizing it, of giving access to many people. And so we are open to that, So it's something we haven't done yet, but it's definitely one of the things you can do with blockchain that's super interesting, right? So we're thinking of doing stuff that way.
And perhaps something else that is quite cool is about the concept of renting. Because if the metaverse start to get kind of like more developed, let's say, then, maybe I want my avatar for that specific occasion to wear that pair of sneakers. Yeah. But maybe I don't have 10 million to spend to buy the sneakers. So perhaps I can just rent them. So as rental has become very popular.
It's already something. So it's something actually that's quite popular with CryptoPunks.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that the moment you put a CryptoPunk on your profile picture,
you get lots of followers.
Yeah, you get punks following, and also you suddenly become kind of a figure of authority, right? Because it's as if you join an influential circle.
Yeah.
Because again, like the CryptoPunks, they're equivalent of having Lamborghini in real life, right? So that's why in punks is actually something that some people are already doing, and they rent their punks to other people, and then they do contracts for 5 months where they can use it, and so it's already happening, and I can see it happening a lot, because as well a lot of NFTs are like kind of membership cards in a sense.
Yeah.
So you could rent if you're not going to use it for 3 months, you can rent one card to someone so that you can use the benefit from it and then give it back to you. So a lot of that is going to happen, I think.
But listen, this rental infrastructure, do you have it in place now with Artefact or not?
No, it's not. So it wouldn't be our infrastructure, because there's people developing stuff like that. So for now, there's no contract that's really well made for this. It's usually just like agreements you do in between people with, you can sign papers, but then it's always risky, because if you give your NFT to someone in their wallet,
exactly,
you have nothing to force him back to give it back, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be better to have some kind of like platform that facilitate that, rather than, as you said, if I'm giving you cool sneakers, you might just disappear. There are they disappear with with loads of money they raise, for ICO. So I don't know about
exactly.
But in a way that then you can see the sneakers again, and maybe you can blank the sneakers as stolen. And then maybe if that is going to be tracked somewhere else, then maybe that person can be sued. I mean, it's all possibility. But yeah, it sounds very interesting. So what is the coolest things that you are working on at the moment? Is there anything that
I can't say. We keep a lot of secrets
Oh,
about what we do.
Is it something to do with sports? Maybe?
With sports?
Yeah, maybe, with football or,
No, not really. We don't really care. I mean, what we do stuff here and there, but it's not really something we focus on at all because it's not our culture.
Yeah.
We are not like, none of us in the team is like very sports driven. So we are not like big fans of teams or football or stuff like that. So no, not sports.
Okay. Would you see you doing something for like Wimbledon or,
No.
No. Right. So kind
I mean,
of
we
like,
won as a one-off thing, yes, but the thing is we try to really not do one-offs.
yeah.
Every project we do, we think of it as a project that's always going to be live and updated and have new things to unlock and new experiences and new items. So we really focus on making big projects that we keep on updating rather than doing one thing here, one thing there. So just like
fashionable. Right. The last question that I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about, working with emerging artists. And I thought that was great because, giving the opportunity to new artists to create something and become successful. What about influencers like celebrities? They had this kind of status of pumping things up, let's call it that way. And but do you think they still have this influencing power, or do you think these things is changing?
I think they still have a lot of power, because a lot of them have a huge following, and everything is driven a lot by FOMO, right? Yeah. So you can always have influence on your audience, but the audience is getting smarter and smarter, and as well at the moment someone realized it's a scam, the information to say it's a scam to others travels very fast. So I think it's, especially the kids these days, they're a lot more intelligent than we were. So they will understand they are being influenced in a bad way faster than before now.
Okay. I'm looking forward to see the next drops.
Yes.
and it is amazing when you go on your website and then you see, right, half of the stuff they already sold out, and you see like, 20,000, 10,000. And I'm asking myself, right, even if I go and, try to buy, a Louis Vuitton sneakers, I wouldn't pay 10,000. I mean, there are the one with exotic, some kind of a skin or some precious fur, but it looks like the virtual sneaker is much more expensive than the physical one. Have you ever saw a sneaker that cost like $1 million?
Not millions yet, no. I think the most expensive was...
Or maybe with diamonds.
No, yeah, maybe with diamonds.
But who will make the diamonds in the sneakers?
The real ones, you mean?
They do.
Real one, yeah, of course. And also we did I don't know if you saw, we did a diamond necklace with Ferocious. And we made the virtual necklace, and then for the collector, because he paid it 880K, we made him a real one, with some diamonds, white gold. It's like crazy piece of jewelry, actually. Yeah,
but so you are basically thinking even to expand beyond sneakers, or you?
Yeah. So we think of it, we think of them as collectibles, and also that's why we're called artifact. Yeah. We think of them as artifacts, right? Like little magic objects. So it can be anything. It's just we started with sneakers because to us it was the iconic product that was representing what the brand was about. Yeah. Merging gaming culture and sneaker culture with crypto. But we did the jacket. Now we're doing jewelry. So anything that you can wear to look cool, we can make it. And
handbags.
We don't, not bags yet, because the thing is,
should be because they are one of the main collectibles with the sneakers.
I mean, not all bags. It's more like the Birkin bags or Hermes. Some bags are more like collectible, but we didn't do yet because actually because your items in in the metaverse, you know, you have unlimited inventory. You don't need a bag.
No, exactly. It's much better
Yeah.
to have things that you can wear. Maybe the handbags, it just keeps, maybe keeps your arm busy, and then maybe you need. Yeah. Okay.
You need to. You prefer to have a sword,
weapon.
you know? Yeah, weapon. Yeah, exactly.
A weapon to kill, or perhaps a pet. Maybe I would love to see pets in the metaverse because
some people are working on stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you can have the fancy collar and something like super cool. Listen, Benoit, it was lovely to chat with you. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
And no problem, it was cool.
All right, that was a very interesting interview with Benoit. I think we kind of explore everything about digital fashion and things are happening, and the opportunity that technology is bringing to a quite old and traditional industry such as fashion. But we are going to see some really interesting things happening, particularly in the metaverse, and also with NFTs and the utility they have got within community, but also within the industry as well. It's all about ownership, it's all about the creator economy, it's all about empowering people, and it's also about authenticity and trust. So fighting counterfeiting is one of, I would say, the main discovery, the main achievement that blockchain technology and NFT can help with. So stay tuned to the channel and subscribe if you are not subscribed yet, and follow us on social media to stay up to date with our news and interviews. I will see you next time.